put my thing on mute till you're ready for me.
Yeah. So go ahead and put it on the chat. If you want to be muted while we're talking, you're more than welcome to do that. And then if we address you, you're welcome to unmute to answer. That might be better for the sound. But if I'm talking, like as of now, I'll be talking to Coach Don and to Farron. So if they want to put their mics off, they're welcome to do that. Later on in the show, we're going to have Adam Flash Stanford and Big Drewskiii is going to be joining us as well. So that's what you got to look forward to right now. Again, I introduce myself. I'm Ricky R. Rodriguez, and at the bottom with that backwards cap, that's my boy Gilbert A+ Asensio. We're going to be Orcas Media, and we're also going to be doing play-by-play for this awesome team, and we're really excited, and we're really excited to go on this run with you guys. So with that said, let's get this ball rolling. No pun intended. All right, so let's get started off. Welcome, everybody. We wouldn't have the Orcas if it wasn't for a dream. He had a dream. Okay, I had to do that. I'm sorry. Talking about the one, the only Farron, WDC Dozier. This dude, especially during this craziness, he always has a cool outlook on life. He always sends me these crazy quotes and stuff, and I think they're really cool, but I love the way that he looks at life, and I love the way he approaches life. And he did it yet again. Farron, you went out and bought a team. Dude. Not everybody does that. What's up with that?
Man, you know what? Double R. Put it this way. I saw a meme, right? Okay. And the meme had this guy sitting in this chair, and then it had the daughter in his lap, and then it had the son on the floor. And it literally said, you know, Grandpa, what did you do during the pandemic? and the joke was, I played PlayStation and smoked weed or something ridiculous, right? And the little boy on the floor says, legend, right? And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? That's a legend, right? So when the opportunity came to purchase the Orcas, I did my due diligence. I talked to an owner who actually I interviewed on my sports show who owned the ABA team. And I asked him, like, why did you fold? And so we talked for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. And he gave me all of his perspectives, what happened, you know, how it didn't work for him and whatever. And so I learned that you should talk to people who went down that road before you make that decision so you can get some insight. So he gave me his information. I took it, said thank you. And then I went, I prayed, and I talked to God like, hey, you know what, this is an opportunity. You know, and I'm learning to do that in my spiritual walk. And then I really just looked at all of the stuff that I've been up to the last 10 years and how I have my foundation and the platforms and the people I want to reach and the people I care about. And I'm like, you know, we used to look at athletes, you know, teams like, well, how come the team, that team doesn't support sickle cell? Or how come that team doesn't support veterans? So when I looked at all that stuff, man, I was like, you know what? I could have my own platform and I could impact the lives that I care about and the people around me care about. So why not? And so I had talked to Kevin, the previous owner, and it's funny because when I first met Kevin, I only met Kevin to do sickle cell awareness with him, only to partner with this organization.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, you know, because my sickle cell trait conversation is toward athletes who collapse from rhabdomyolysis and have these inherited genes that don't know. So I figured what a great partner to see if I could partner with his basketball team, the Emperors. So that was my initial contact to Kevin, was just to see how I could share my awareness. And after he saw all of the shows that we've done, all of the videos, edits, and things like that, he was like, hey man, I need a media person. And so I was like, you know what, I'm down. So I was doing media for him. And then he mentioned in the conversation, like, man, I own the Orcas, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I think I'm gonna sell it. I was like, dude, don't sell the Orcas. I said, have you seen Oxnard? I said, man, Oxnard is a beautiful city. I mean, it's a rich town. I mean, it's surrounded by the waters right there. I mean, bro, that's like, why would you sell that? He's like, you don't think so? I'm like, bro, I wouldn't sell it if I was you. Here we are, 6, 7, 8 months later. He's expanding with the Pumas. He's expanding with the Heat. He's putting a team out in Alabama. Wow. He owns 6 teams in the European League that we're dropping. Wow. So he was like, you know what? I think I need to let some of these properties go. So do you want the Orcas? And I said, that's when I said, let me think about it. He offered it to some other people as well. So it didn't seem like it was just me. And the other people turned it down, obviously. And so I purchased it. And, you know, when I said yes, it was like I had just had my another child. Like if you have children, you know, like that responsibility that comes over your life, like the moment you find out, like that's or whatever version that is for you, it could be something important too, not just children, but whatever that is for you. That's how I felt, like that, not a negative stress, but a stress like, wow, like did I just say yes?
Yeah, did that just happen?
Definitely.
Yeah, like, did that just happen? And so immediately I just started looking in my life, and the people you see that we have so far on the team. I mean, it made sense. I mean, why would I go outside of people that I've built relationships with for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and who already do what they do in life? And so it was an opportunity to do it. And I met Jay. I helped him at one of his events last year, and it was like, man, that dude is a overseas basketball player, professional, former NBA player. I'm like, dude, like, wow. Like all the pieces just started coming in. Like, man, I could get, and like Don coaches, like it's like all these pieces in my life like made sense. I'm like, you know what, this shouldn't be as challenging as I think. And with having, you know, a guy like Ilya who's done marketing for 20 plus years, he's a closer. So it's like, you know what, I have people in my life who I think could help, you know, create this legacy, not just for me, but for everybody. So it was like, you know what, why not? And here we are today with Coach Don. Jay is on the here. I mean, you guys, I met, you know, at school. So it's like all the pieces are there. And so it's not that difficult. I know for most teams, the financial piece is really the challenge, is having the money to fund that season. And so I think with the great minds that I have surrounded myself with, you know, I can't do it by myself. And so the journey begins.
That's right.
And I'm excited. I'm keeping it fair. I mean, straight up, I could just take the cats I got right now on the tryout squad, and we could go live tomorrow. That's how confident I am. But I also wanted to be fair and biased and have people try out. I definitely want people who live in Oxnard to represent our team. So we're going to make sure we have spots of people from Oxnard. But if push came to shove tomorrow, the pieces that Don and we put together, I mean, there's no doubt that you're going to talk to these guys in a little bit, that they are elite players. And you have your rec league players, and you have, you know, different cats, and, you know, we all have our chasing hoop dreams. But the lineup that Don, you know, that I inherited, I could put it that way, the lineup that I inherited and the guys that want to play, I mean, those guys right now, we could go live, and I think we would give this ABA league a run for their money. So I don't know what questions you have, man. I'm good.
No, I totally I agree with you there, man. I've seen the tryout squad, and it's ridiculous. I mean, just the two that we got coming in, they got all kinds of really good stories. Drewskiii and Flash, man, they got some good stuff. I also love that you went in-house. You went with the people you know, the people you trust. I know me personally, when you called me, I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's do this. Right. Let's jump. Let's do it, you know? And you're not afraid of falling in order to get back up, you know? And is that the military mentality? Is that what it is?
You know, it's all of it, you know, but my buddy Ilya, who's my partner on the sports show, he said to me before I purchased it, he said to me, if you're going to do it, he's like, you have that military mentality. He's like, you have this military mentality, and you got to learn how to trust people. And I know, you know, there's a transition from military to civilians, that we have this breaking communication. And so he said to me, you know, you got to trust the process. He's like, if you're going to buy it, you got to trust the process. You got to let people pick people who are in that, you know, that lane, and you got to let them fail. Like, you got to let people be them, and let them fail, and figure out what's that failure for them, and help them, you know, correct it. And so between the military and my education, landmark education, I got a different perspective of life. So I appreciate you for noticing that. I do think a little differently than most, just because of some development that I personally went through. So yeah, it was Ilya was like, man, if you do it, you got to trust the process. So I remind myself literally every day that no matter how wound up I get about the process of what it looks like right now, I remember what he told me a few weeks ago, and he said, trust the process. So that's what I'm doing. And the people that I've selected, we all have the same vision. So that was the great thing as well. We all have this vision to give back, especially to the next generation of basketball. And so, we're going to play basketball, yes, but my man Jay, Don, like I said, we all have this view that after we're done and gone, dead, like what's left? What's going to be happening in the basketball world? And if we could put a footprint in that, generation with our knowledge and our expertise and our team, then why not go back to those 7th graders, 8th graders, 9th graders, teach them, not what to think, but how to think. And that way they can have a life and create, if they have a chasing hoop dreams, then guess what? This is what it's going to take. You got people around you who've coached, who play professional, who play overseas. Like the NBA is not the only professional team, but we've been programmed to think that you got to be in the NBA to be a professional. And we talk about that on the sports show. You got guys that play overseas that have just as great of a life, make enough money and successful overseas. So with the ABA, I'll say this too, the NBA was smart. You buy out your competitor. I mean, who wouldn't, right? So if you buy out your competitor, then they're not around. So you become the number one market. So the ABA, to me, the NBA did that. They purchased the ABA, bought the rights, absorbed a couple of teams, but now they're no longer considered a professional team in the mindset of people. So now it's like, now we have to bring this, league back to a professional status as the way it was back in the 60s and 70s. So exactly. With the crew I got, I'm sure that's the stuff that we plan on presenting, a professional team with opportunities to get to the next level. And if we're a stepping stone to get to overseas or to get to the G League or to get to the NBA to get a look, then we plan on being that, and we plan on running for the championship.
I think it's funny you say that because the squad that we have, we could probably take some NBA teams right now, no problem. Like, at least in my eyes. What do you think, G?
Oh yeah, man. Especially with adding Big Drew. Like when we saw him at trials, man, he was putting in work, man. Remember that?
Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about
that. Like I said, I could really be biased. I could really just be like, hey, forget the tryouts. Like, we going with the squad. But we never know who we're going to find out there, the diamonds in the roughs. My man Jay, when you talk to him, he could tell you, man, we just never know who you're going to find out there. We know that a lot of NBA, a lot of players in the community ball just as well as NBA players. So why would we limit, our chances on finding some 7-footer or, a point guard that's just as good as, some of the legends. So we want to keep that open opportunity for people to come and try out for us.
No, and I love that you do that open tryouts.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had a quick question for Farron real quick. So last week, when we're on your show, you mentioned that you wanted to run your organization like the Spurs. I had a few questions on why you chose the Spurs to run the organization like that.
I could see it.
For me, I got interested in basketball from my uncle, Kelly Dozier, who played at Hamilton. He ended up joining the military. So the fundamentals, I think when you first learn basketball, you've got to know the fundamentals of basketball. And for me, the Spurs represents a fundamental team. If you looked at how they play basketball, that you want a balanced team. You don't want somebody who just goes for 40 and you lose games. Like, you want power forwards to do what power forwards do. You want centers to do what centers do. You want the guard. And to me, that's the best example of a fundamental team. And a lot of people would agree or disagree, but that's why I chose the Spurs, because I think that fundamental basketball and playing defense, we had a thing growing up that defense wins the game. So you play defense and you play fundamental basketball, it's hard to beat.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's hard to beat.
And I'll take your word for that, because If you look back in NBA history, 2014, when the Spurs and the Heat went at it, the Spurs blew the Heat off the waters, man. And they were running fundamental basketball all day.
I mean, you want your showtime, of course, and we're going to have players that give you the showtime too. But, you know, the philosophy that I want to instill that I've talked to my staff about is that fundamental. And I think that we have, like I said, we're going to build that team to play fundamental basketball. And if you hot, then take it. But if it comes back to the core conversation or the core philosophy is reset and get back to the fundamentals and play defense.
I love that you're go ahead. Yeah, I love that you're doing the fundamental thing and then you focus on that. And another thing about Pop, he loves his guys, but like you said, he's still stern. He's still on them. He wants them to get their stuff right, especially even Team USA right now. They're not even playing in the Olympics, and he's still on them.
Yeah,
right. It's crazy
because if you have that mindset, if you have the fundamental mindset, you can always go back to that. You can always program yourself and go back to the fundamentals of your position. And I think that is, basketball is mental game too. So what's your mental part about that? And it's got to be that fundamental aspect, and it's just hard to beat.
Yeah, it is. And well, speaking of fundamentals, speaking of teaching, we got the man himself that's going to be doing that for our Oxnard Orcas. We got Coach Don in the house. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
I'm doing well, you guys.
Oh, dude, we're hanging in there, brother. Hanging in there. I love that Farron brought you along. I've watched you in the P4E League a couple times, and I love the approach that you have with your team. First off, I want to ask you, how did you feel when you got the call from Farron, and did you have any other offers before that?
No, because I've been more interested in the P4E. We've been playing in the programs and trying out for the Drew and building that because there's a bigger calling behind that. It's a sports ministry, so it's about sharing about Jesus and more than just basketball. And I got connected with Farron with Sports Collective, and we immediately hit it off and built a relationship and started talking. And when he set me up, it was actually before he was thinking about buying the team. And I was like, oh, interesting. And we kept going back and forth day after day. Oh, now you bought it. Now you fully bought it. I was like, oh, it's serious now. And then he was like, what about coaching? And I thought he was joking.
Never know what's on.
Because he was starting out there, and then after a while, he was like, low key, I want you to be a coach. Like, oh, now I got to really think about it and pray about it. And so I did. He bugged me for another week or so to give him a and I was like, finally, like I just told my wife, hey, are we gonna do this or what? And she was on board from the start, and it shocked me. So it shocked me because it's going to give up time and everything, but she thought it was a great opportunity, and so we're doing this. And it's been a fun ride already. Some of the players, some guys trying out, some of my P4E guys are trying out for the team, and they're on the meeting right now. So it's cool to see the family still sticking together and wanting to try out rather than wanting a spot, which is what we're all about.
Yeah, and it shows dedication, and it shows that you're willing to put in that drive other than, hey, I already know Coach Don, he should just pick me,
Yeah, no, most definitely. It's all, we're going to be competing every day. There's going to be a development team, so
cool. They're
going to be wanting spots on the pro team. So pro guys got to keep on working, or they may lose their spot. So it's competition every day. Similar to the Spurs do it, but also when they had Pete Carroll, practice every day was competition. It started on Saturday was the practice. So that's a philosophy we're going to have, and we're going to have to keep earning our spots, coaches included.
Hey, Jay, great. So just so you know, I knew there was going to be challenges when I wanted him to coach because of his presence in the basketball circle, and people know how he runs his leagues, and some people look at it like he has his favorites and stuff like that. But I told people, look, if that guy if he's chasing a bag and he's in tournaments he has his right to pick his starting 5 or whatever players. So you can't be mad at somebody who does that because he's chasing his bag. But if he runs his league professionally, you can't be mad at that. So I'm like, you know what? The guy can coach. The guy's a good guy. The spiritual aspect is there. I mean, that's most important, is the spiritual walk, because I'm developing mine. So it was like, you know what? I knew there was going to be there's always going to be somebody in the background having something to say about it, but you can't challenge that guy's character. So for that reason is why I was like, you know what, Don? Give me an answer, because if not, I gotta go find somebody else. So I don't want to have to find nobody else.
And about the favorites, you know, every coach, every person is going to have their favorite players. You have your favorite, you don't play favorites. And you know, Drew could, when you interview Drew could for that in a little bit. But you know, we always have our favorites as coaches. You know, just like we do as fans. But you know, the game is fun. You know, especially in so going after the title. And, you know, I like to, you know, get these guys better on and off the court, so I keep good relationships with everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, if they play 5 minutes or they play the whole game. But, you know, in the time to win is the guys that are doing their part and playing the right way.
I like that. It's like more like a fatherly mentality than it is. It's like a coach and a father all at the same time, because you want to see them succeed, but you also want to push them to where they have to force themselves to succeed.
I would call it more like a big brother, because I ain't that.
All right. You can say that. You can say that. We got a bunch of dads on here. That's why I said that. It's all good, Coach. It's all good.
Yeah. Buddha's on the call. He's 37. I'll be a big brother to him.
That's funny. Speaking of fatherly figures, Coach, we talked about, Farron said he takes that Spurs mentality. What coach motivated you when you were growing up and looking into coaching, and who motivated you?
Actually, I started playing baseball from I could pick up a ball at least 2.5. My first present was one of those stand-up where you press with your foot, the wiffle ball comes up. Yeah. I broke that thing in like 2 months because I played it so much. I played baseball all the way up to semi-pro. Mm-hmm. So most of my early coaches were all baseball coaches. Coaches, especially because that's what I did, was pitch. And then all the way up to high school and college, my college coaches in all the sports. I played all different ones. I played water polo, swam, basketball, everything. So I took a little bit of everything from each one. Both, even if they were, I had some bad coaches, like everybody does. But there's always something to take. So I took a little bit from everybody, and then now that I became a Christian, I'm taking that aspect and blending the two. And it's been an interesting ride, but it's been a blessed one.
Hey, Ricky, you got somebody that wants to say something real quick?
Yeah, I got him right there. I got you, Bill. Go ahead. Hang on. Let's unmute.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Okay,
so real quick, I appreciate it. I got to jump off. I got to go to UPS. So I'm an essential worker.
Thank you.
What I wanted to say is I saw that Coach Don had the 23 Michael Jordan. So I just wanted to I kind of wanted to tell you guys my story real quick, because I'm not even sure if Farron knows this. Okay, so I first met Michael when he was in North Carolina. When I was in the military, 82nd Airborne. Nice. I met Michael, I think it was his junior year, but long story short, you never know where it goes. Later on, Michael Jordan, and Farron, this reminds me of you, man, so check this out. So Michael Jordan purchased a race team called Jordan Motorsports, okay? And I do a lot of marketing and stuff like that. And so I got a motorcycle and made it just like Michael Jordan, and took it to the SEMA show. So Michael Jordan, a lot of people know, but he ran a motorcycle professional racing team for 6 years.
Oh, wow. And
a guy named Montez showed him how to ride in Chicago, and he ended up going, he's a competitor, okay? Mm-hmm. And he used to go up into the suite and stuff like that. So he was very much into speed and things like that. And I had a chance to kind of do some stuff with him more in the motorsports area. But that guy is a lot like Farron. He's a competitor, and he looks at different opportunities and stuff like that, and something he loves and believes in. So I had a chance. He's a great guy. I saw the the shirt. So
Gonna make him
you
cry.
guys are on to some great things, man. I'm going to come out there and support. I love Farron, what he's doing. He's come to my school, doing some things, and we're just going to keep it moving, man. I'm so excited he's got this team, man. It's amazing. And I bless you guys all, man, with the spiritual walk. We're all in this thing, man. We're going to get through this pandemic, and I just appreciate you for the time. Farron, thanks for letting me join in, man.
No problem, Bill. Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming, Bill. Be safe.
You guys have a good weekend. Happy Mother's Day. Okay.
What it do, baby?
All right.
Uh-oh, we got trouble in the house. It sounds like the boys are here. All right, boys. Hang on. Just about ready. We want to thank
real quick.
Wait, go for it. Who was that?
No, I was gonna say Bill's story, and it's crazy because he's talking about Jordan with the sixes. And I remember Jordan coming out with the Motorsport sixes.
Oh, wow.
Thing to say.
Why not, right?
Black
Why
and
not?
white. Yep, white top, black bottoms.
Heck yeah, I'm totally down for that. That'd be freaking great. All right, you guys, we now talked to the dudes that are going to lead the pack. We're now going to jump into some of the boys that are going to be running the show themselves. Joining us now, we got Adam Flash Stanford without a D in the middle. We got to learn that. And Big Drewskiii, Andrew, is it Bournes or is it Bournes? How do we say that? Bournes? All right, sounds good, my brother. All right, so we got these boys joining us. I'm super excited. The minute I hit them up, they were like, yeah, dude, let's do this thing. Heck yeah. We talked to Adam last week, I believe it was, on Farron's show, and he was really entertaining, had some really good stories, and I would love for him to share some of them again today. And our dude Drewskiii, man, I talked to him at the Emperor's Trial. We'll get into that in just a little bit, Drew. And I said something to him that I think is pretty funny that we're talking now. He knows what I'm talking about.
Oh,
so, yeah. I wanna start with Flash. Hey, Flash, how did you get that name? How'd you get that name?
Man, that name came out of high school, and that was because when I was playing basketball, I was running track, playing football, playing basketball, and then playing AAU. And as you know,
wow.
Oh my gosh! But you know, in high school, basketball year-round, football goes to a certain standpoint. Track, it starts during baseball season. You know, AAU, once May hits, it's going. So I never took a break. And then literally in high school, when track season started, as soon as basketball was over, I would work out. And then every track meet I did, I would have basketball shoes on.
You're just ready to jump right over.
Yeah, like well, my dad and them, they couldn't afford me to have spikes like everybody else.
Okay.
So I would run and jump just in basketball shoes. So literally, I'd go work out. I went to Illinois High School. I'd go work out, play ball, and then run up the hill, run to the track, put my stuff on, do a track meet.
Oh,
modern day Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I mean, that came in. The first nickname was Stay Fresh because it would always be a fresh pair of Jordans that I would run and jump in. And then out of nowhere, it was like, nobody's gonna call you like Flash. And so that name carried a long way, which I'm happy for it because Dwayne Wade's my favorite athlete, and his name's Flash. So you know, it's funny.
Well, there you go. All right, now we know. Now we know. Life can continue now. It's all good. All right, Flash. So, dude, you played overseas on a couple of different teams from what I saw. Could you tell me maybe some differences and some similarities with overseas and maybe the ABA or the Drew League, Rec League, whatever league you played here in the States?
Well, I mean, the overseas life is way different. And, you know, you got your pros and cons with it. And also for the ABA, because I played a couple of games for that when I came back home. But I'd say the biggest difference with overseas compared to everything in America, like the Drew League, Venice Beach and stuff, is you never know when you're going to go home. like you never know. Like I witnessed dudes, they're on mine for 3 games and they get sent home.
And this is like in the Asia, right?
Yeah, been to China, Denmark, Thailand, and then also been to the Canada Pro-Ams and whatnot like that. But playing overseas, you never know. So you always got to be on your P's and Q's. Like you never know when you're going to get sent home, and you never know when somebody, you never know when you're going to get put onto a different team. So it's kind of scary because it's like, okay, you can put your effort, your loyalty into one team, and then next boom, you're going to another team.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's like, oh dang, I thought I was with you guys. So I mean, that's the biggest difference. But then competition on the court over there, it's weird because like everybody runs the 2-3, because if you're fast, 2-3 is the best way to stop you. If you can shoot and you're fast, they do a 3-1. You know, like it's hard to stop. So I mean, yeah, that's the biggest difference, is just the competition when it comes to somebody that doesn't have a high IQ.
Okay, well that goes right into my next question actually. Did you ever play against any NBA players, either current or past NBA players that were playing overseas at the time?
Playing overseas, I haven't played with anybody current. Everybody always asks a question when I was in China if I played against Stephon Marbury.
Only Adam. Only Adam.
Drew knows. Crazy.
He played with me, man.
Right.
Everyone asks that question. You know, I played against Stephon Marbury, or if I played against what's his name, Jimmy Fredette. Okay. He played for the Shanghai Sharks. I have not played against either one. I've seen both, talked to both, but never played on the court with both. But people were shocked.
Never know. That would be pretty cool, though. Okay, you talked about overseas is different, has a different mentality, a different mindset. What have you learned in your years from overseas that you could bring over here to the States, to the Orcas?
What I've learned overseas to bring here, the biggest word is patience. And I'll say that because on the court, everybody likes to, you know, go back and forth, speed, come down the court, shoot a 3, or swing the ball once, shoot a 3. But over there, like the biggest thing I've learned is when I was in Denmark was patience. Like everybody takes their time. You know, even if you're the fastest guy, you're going to take your time, let the play develop, see what's going on, and then boom, make it happen. If you're a dunker, let it develop, go back door. If you're a 3-point shooter, let it develop, boom, it happens. So that's the biggest thing I learned. And when patience, I'm the worst. So when it comes to that, that's the biggest thing I learned. Patience and know your opponent.
Oh, you got an owner now that'll push that patience on you. So I think we're good.
That's one of my fan favorites. One of my fan favorites right there.
That's freaking awesome. Okay, how did you feel when you first got the call to go on the tryout squad from Farron?
I was surprised because honestly, like I seen Don, which is Coach Don. I seen him put up everything. He put my jersey up, and I'm looking like, oh man, like I got that jersey
Coach Don
right here. When he put it up, shout out to Don. I'll autograph it if he needs me to. But I was happy because Don hits me up sometimes joking around, even Farron, joking around and whatnot. But not just them. People always seem to be like, yo, when are you going to play in Cali? Like for a professional team in Cali. And I'm like, I play overseas a lot. I'm not going to do it. But when I seen it, and then I seen the roster, seen Coach, seen Farron, and then I seen Ryan Nitz, I was like, the tryout roster, I was like, you know what? I'm there.
Gotta go for it,
bro. I'm there. When I seen the route, I seen everything, I was fully focused with it.
Yeah, and I when I saw you on there, I'm like, oh man, this guy's pretty sick, and I was really excited about it. And again, like he said, it's a tryout squad, but like Farron said, this tryout squad is ridiculous. Like you guys take the floor today, and you guys would kill it.
Yeah, it's not gonna be nothing easy, which that's how it's supposed to be. It's not gonna be a cakewalk.
Well, nothing ever is, especially right now. We can notice that. It's so crazy. Everybody keeps saying patience, patience, patience. Look at what we're in the middle of right now, but yet Farron is building this awesome squad. He's building a family, and you guys are joining the family. I love it.
I think it's the best thing, man. Shout out to Farron for that, because the team he built is we're a family on the court and off the court. Like we know each other on and off, and that's the biggest thing when it comes to basketball. Like if you know somebody on the court and off the court, you know how everything is. Now if you just know them on the court, you're never going to know how they are during certain moments and things.
All right.
So, I mean, he did a perfect thing with that.
Hey, you know what, Ricky? I'm gonna say this, man, and I know Don would definitely understand. And if you have a spirituality or spiritual walk, you know, in the midst of a crisis like we are in right now, like this coronavirus has shut down the world, like literally the worlds that we live in, like all these social worlds and the arts world and the sports world, like all these worlds that run our world is been shut down. And if you understand, and if you're in line with your spiritual walk, man, even in the midst of a pandemic, your walk with God and your gift does not get impacted. Like this is the best time for you to figure out your next way of life in the middle of a crisis. And so I you know what? I challenged it. Like I heard that before from a speaker, and I challenged that because it's like, you know what am I going to do in the middle of this pandemic when life is going crazy and everybody's like, I don't have a job and whatever. It's like, you know what? Now we go buy a basketball team.
Let's go buy a team.
But see, and Don mentioned it to me. Don mentioned it to me before in another aspect that I didn't look at initially. I looked at it like, you know what? The give back, right? The contribution. But then Don was like, man, you're giving people jobs. You're giving people are going to have, you know, I think that was Don from Pac Rim. It was like, you're giving people, you're affording people jobs. And I didn't look at it that way fully until he said that. And it was like, well, dang, you know what? You're right. Like in the middle of a crisis, you know, here we are building a basketball team. And yeah, people don't know, we don't know what's going to happen, but here's the blessing too. We're not the NBA. So we don't have to have 18,000 fans at the game. So guess what? The ABA is considered a small venue. So if we could get, our goal is to get 300 seats in the gym. But if we can only get 150 seats, or even only get 50 seats, guess what? Our season still continues. So we don't have to worry about trying to get 18,000 people to come and watch us. If we get 150 youth to come out and their parents to hang out with us and watch us chase this championship, bro, it's the same experience if you got 150 people or you got 18,000 people cheering for you.
I think that's it right there.
That's the type of fan base. So if you have to, like Don, like you have to develop your spiritual walk, man, because in the midst of a crisis, and I'm gonna say this too before I let you go, even in the midst of the lives that are getting killed by what just happened, like, you know, as a Black race, we keep saying that I'm tired. We keep saying that, you know, this needs to stop. You know when leaders are created? When you're angry. See, we're not angry enough yet to take to take on that. We're tolerated. We're tired. But who's angry enough to say, you know what? I'm willing to die for this conversation. Nobody's, you know, I'm almost there because I'm so upset with how everybody is being treated, and we keep looking at, you know, the Black race, the Black race, the Black race, and I'm almost angry enough to take that on because either you tolerate stuff in life or you get tired of it, but it still doesn't create an action. Martin Luther King got angry, and he stood for what he stood for. And somebody needs to step up and get angry enough to take these conversations on, but in a way that we're educated, in a way that we can understand and why people are upset, why people are mad. People are mad at Black people not because we're Black. It was taught that way. It was taught that way from years and years of Greek philosophy. The Greek philosophy created that. So if you understand where this whole racial thing came from, it's not Don because he's white. It's not even probably his grandfather. It goes back to freaking people who believe it's in their fabrics. It's in their mindsets, bro. And you got to understand that. All white people don't hate Blacks. It's just not that way.
True. And that goes for a lot of other races too.
Yeah, Mexicans.
You know,
Exactly.
Especially Asians right now. It's unbelievable the things that are happening to Asians, and it's sad.
We're taught that stuff, man.
Yeah.
We're taught, and I want to get off subject, but that's the reason why, you know, I appreciate the acknowledgement, but that's the reason why this is happening, because I understand my spiritual walk, and I understand that in the midst of a crisis, God will still produce things in your life for the greater good. And so you have to be able to understand that and take that chance. So
It's so true. Coach, do you ever reply to that? Sorry, I had to.
You're still on mute. You're still on mute, Don. You're still on mute.
There you go, Coach. Go ahead.
I was on mute. Adam and Drew. I'll probably take a picture at the white comment because I'm light skinned.
I
can't. Just covering. I just need. But I everything Farron said was correct. About the situation going on. Adam posted something this week that was right on point. Just that's why I love basketball, because it brings all cultures, all races, all ethnicities, all religions together. Common. I love basketball, and while you're on that basketball court, everybody's equal, and
Absolutely.
Great thing about that, and and then you put on the spiritual side and believing in Jesus who loved everybody. If we start everything with and end everything with love, then we're all good.
Exactly. I 100% agree.
But if love's not in it, then why are we doing it anyways?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's a family, It's a family. Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. Let's jump into a guy. Thank you, Adam, also for giving us your insight, giving us your stories and a couple of those funny reactions you just had. It was great. Let's bring into another guy who was like dying laughing earlier. Drewskiii, Big Drew, Andrew Bournes. Dude, last time I talked to you, we were at, I don't even remember what school it was. But you were doing the tryouts for the Emperors. And the last thing I said to you, do you remember what the last thing I said to you in our interview was?
I hope we continue on and we have another interview. Was that
something like that? But it was, I hope, no, he was close. He was close. He probably had 1,000 interviews since then. No, it was, I hope you become an emperor.
Yes.
And then a month or so later, this happens. I see your name on the paper, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, what happened? So I want to ask you, what happened, dude?
Man, honestly, I'm just as surprised as you are. Don actually approached me about the situation, was just like, hey, how do you feel about so-and-so and blah, blah, and I kind of told him, like, if it worked out in the right way and there was the right people involved, I'm 100% in, because to me, it's just about family and having people that I know that are close, a close-knit group. And that's just how I felt. As soon as I see Farron that was able to be the owner of the team, and I saw that Don was on board, that kind of made me feel a lot more comfortable to know, like, I got people in my corner, guys in my corner that are going to help us try to do what we're really trying to do as far as basketball and that career and aspect and growing as men. So once I found that out, I was 100% on board. I've seen a lot of the friends and people that I've competed with and played with that were on the tryout team, and I was all for it. That's exciting to see, It's not too often that you get to get a good group of guys and friends actually off the court that actually can compete and play together on the court. So anytime an opportunity like that, I just want to jump on it because, I don't want to look back on life saying, wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda when we're here now.
Right.
How did your Emperor teammates react did you tell them? Did you just bounce, or what happened there?
Honestly, I had no idea. I didn't even knew I made the team, so I thought I was 50-50. On the borderline. So honestly, I had no idea. I didn't even think I made the team. So once I found out, about the whole Orcas thing, I was just like, I was stoked because now I'm a part of a family. I'm a part of a good group that that wants me. And I think that's the biggest thing as far as basketball players is being wanted somewhere where you're needed.
Hey, Ricky. So when I took over the Orcas, there was a few inherited players that I was able to come along with, right?
Like that expansion draft.
Yeah. I was able to absorb. And why wouldn't I, right? So I was able to absorb a few players, and like Andrew. Like, does Andrew really have to try out? I mean, come on, we've already seen him perform.
Yeah.
We've already know him. So, I'm not, like I said, we're biased, but, would he really have to try out? And so, I took a loss. We lost a couple. I inherited a few players actually from the Orcas, and a couple of guys left. They went and bounced to another team. But just so they know, I love y'all. I'm not in love with you.
None of that. It's the wrong show.
Hey, check it. But I also am part owner of the team that they went to. So I have just as much love for them for playing for me over there in that other team. So, if they would have hung in and took the risk with us, they could have possibly made the team. I don't know. But at least they got a spot, and at least, you know what? I'm still a part of that organization over there, and I'm gonna do just as much as I did here for them over there. So, but I inherited quite a few players, and Andrew was one of them. And like you said, we've seen him try out for the Emperors already. Like I said, most of these guys I met because I interviewed them on the show. Probably a year, 2 years, probably 2 years or more.
That
so
quickly,
like,
yeah. 2 years is blown by that fast.
Right. So it's like I've sat with these guys, and when you interview like I interview, you get in people's lives and you get to hear what people are dealing with. So I had an opportunity to sit with these guys. Most of the guys on the team I've sat with. So it's like, again, it's like a puzzle. Why would I not, bring these guys a part of who I've got a connection with and who already play in this basketball circle with the coach who's an excellent coach. So it makes sense.
It's funny you say the word puzzle because the pieces are coming together. He knows you. He's played in the P4E league with Coach Don, and that was my next thing I was going to go to. Andrew, you played for P4E. What did Coach Don teach you, and what else did you learn during that league, and what is that smile for?
Oh, man. If it wasn't for Don, I don't know where I'd be right now, honestly. And that's why I feel like God works in mysterious ways. I feel like we're brought together for a good reason. And he became like a big brother and almost like a father figure in my eyes because I lost my father to cancer 4 years ago. Okay. So to have an adult figure to be out there to actually want what's best for me and look out for the benefit of me was actually very nice and something that was very new to me. So going to the P4E league, he actually helped me grow up to become better as a man, first of all, but also kind of sharpen my skills as a basketball player and understand the bigger picture, not in basketball, but in life in general. So that's something that I'm very grateful for P4E. Shout out to you, Coach. That's awesome.
That's what's up, man.
I also noticed, I did a little back research. Sorry, don't think I'm a creeper or anything. You did some coaching yourself, sir. I noticed you coach some kids, man. Do you take any mentality that Coach Don has taught you and drop that to your kids?
I definitely do, especially the maturity aspect, just because growing up at Rancho Verde High School in Moreno Valley, it wasn't the best situation, but just to have somebody that's my age group to come back and kind of just show the ropes or just kind of give advice and just be there for them, it does a lot of wonders. And it makes me feel like, if I had that growing up in high school and even let alone early years of college, I feel like I'll be in a different position. So anytime I'm able to help the youth or be a type of motivation or just anything to benefit them, I'm all for it, especially when it comes to basketball, because there's so many doors that basketball can open for you that it's literally unbelievable. It doesn't have to be even sports related, but people that you meet outside of basketball, and it just becomes through the love of the sport. That's all it is.
Right, definitely. So right.
Hey, G, you got something?
No, I was just agreeing with Andrew on that situation that he mentioned. Basketball definitely opens a lot of doors for a lot of people when you really think about it. And for example, I'll give you one, Lonzo Ball, man. Look what he did with when he came into the league.
There it is.
No, and it's cool. And Rick, as you see, man, the people like Andrew, like that give back, bro. Like it's the basketball is the bonus. The basketball is where everybody's gonna come and watch us chase this chip. But when we're off the court, guys like him, they're gonna have jobs. They're gonna be able to go in the community and take care of that next generation, give them their insight, give them the information. Listen to that child. Maybe that child, do you know guys that play sports because their father is trying to live his dream through them? Like,
yes, I do actually.
Baseball. I don't know how to play baseball.
You know what I'm saying? So, but what if we empower that youth to be like, you know what, Dad? I don't want to play. I'm only playing basketball because you want me, and this is what I want. You just never know what kind of life you're gonna touch in these youth because they're so. I mean, you see what life is becoming today. So we got to give them the power, the courage to speak out, to speak up, and make their own choices. Like I said, teach them how to think, but not what to think. And if we teach them how to think, that gives them the power to make their own choices. Because your parents don't know our parents don't know why we're born.
Super parents.
We're all born with the gift. We're all born with the purpose. Our parents don't know that.
Yeah.
So you have to find your way. You have to find a lot of people like Bill. Bill, I work with Bill because Bill is teaching youth. Yeah, if you don't want to go to college, guess what? There's trade schools. The STEM programs. There's so many ways that you can become successful versus just I gotta go to college. No, you can be just as successful creating your own business in maintenance or in whatever STEM, NASA, like whatever. And so these are the conversations that a lot of us didn't get that. We didn't have that. We
I
didn't have
agree.
somebody showing up.
I completely agree.
Teaching
And the biggest thing for me was, you know, showing these kids and telling them like, hey, like, you don't have to be a Division I athlete in order to get this, and this. You don't have to be this, and that, or whatever society wants you to be or social media wants you to be. Like, there's different avenues, but the biggest thing is you can't quit no matter what. It may get hard, it may be tough. Nobody might not believe in you, but at the same time, as long as you believe in yourself, you have a good core group of people that trust in you and believe in you, anything's possible. And I think it's shown that in this reality, in this world.
There's so many athletes and actors and any, like Farron said, any job out there that they've pushed and pushed and pushed, but they've been through hell and back, and it shows on their performance on the court or on the stage or on the big screen or in their job as a police officer or even teachers, you know, stuff like that. It shows, and kids notice. Kids,
Yes.
I worked at a school for 10 years, you notice
that's
it.
the biggest thing, following from you and what Drew says, and like Farron, Don knows, and Drew knows from my color line, the One Nation, that fits out perfectly from what both of them say. Like,
Yes.
never give up. You know, do what you have to do. No matter what obstacles come to you, keep going. Now, like, we have a doctor in chat. Like, if you want to be a doctor, go to it. Don't let nobody look back. If you want to play golf, like, go to it. Don't let nobody look back. Keep going for the long term, the strong term. That's going to help you and everybody else out. So I'll follow from what Drew says 100% for that.
And just to piggyback off of that, I think what separates people that actually make it to those who don't is just being consistent. And even though you might not see any results short term, long term, as long as you stay consistent, you will be rewarded in any type of way or fashion.
The marathon continues, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I will help you with that.
Preach it.
That's right. We got a couple minutes left. Drew, one more big question I had to ask. What is your game time goals when you go into a game, a singular game, and what are your season goals usually on the court?
Game time goals, it's always to win. And, you know, as a kid growing up, I was bullied a little bit, and I was always the kid that was
Have
trying
you
to
seen
be
how big you are? Sorry. Go on.
He grew into that body. He grew into that body.
Look at Adam trying to make it about himself again.
I'm sorry.
Chill out.
All right,
no, I'm just
go ahead.
fine though. But honestly though, just growing up, just being the smaller kid around, you know, I would get bullied on the court or wherever the case may be, and I'll look for my parents for help and just like, hey, like this is what you want to do. Like you want to play basketball, you want to play with the big boys, you got to be able to hang out there. So I think just as a competitor growing up and taking so many losses and just understanding the struggle and the grind of it, going out as a competitor, I just want to win. And by any means, like it's always about the team first. Because if I win or if we win together collectively, we all win, no matter what. In some way, somehow, some fashion, we all win in a way. So overall, it's about team success. And sometimes you got to sacrifice your own individual agendas for the team. And you know, that's one thing that I'm very lucky and blessed about. I was able to win a state championship my sophomore year at junior college, and you know, I was one of the best players on the team, but at the same time, I had to sacrifice a big part of my game for the team. And overall, it showed. And I think that's the bigger agenda about basketball. And that's one thing that I love about the sport is, you know, it's not about just one individual. It's about everybody collectively. Absolutely. And so going into a season, I want to win. If I know we got the talent, we got everything that we need, all the pieces, and we can do it, there's no excuse to not why not we can't get it done.
Absolutely.
So overall, it's just I want to win. At all costs, whether we got to sacrifice time, practice, whatever the case may be, like this is our commitment for the next 6 to et cetera months, you know?
All right.
And that goes for life too, not just on the court. G, did you have something?
No, I was totally agreeing with Andrew. Like, I was just listening to what he was saying, and it just makes me think like how every single one of us is meant to be here right now, and how God just mysteriously just put us all together. It's crazy, man. It really is.
It is crazy, honestly. It gives me the chills when I really think about it. Because it's just like, yo, we really could be in all different directions of life, but God brought us here together, I feel like, collectively, and it's not by accident. Nah. So I think we all understand that, and most importantly, we'll take advantage of the opportunity in this situation. And I think it's going to be a win-win situation for everybody. where we'll all kind of get our own individual goals, but at the same time, collectively, we're pushing something forward that's bigger than just basketball. And I don't think people quite understand the whole aspect of it, but once they do see it, it's like, okay, this is exactly what the Orcas are about.
Absolutely. And not just on the court, in life too. And I can see that just by listening to you, the four of you, just right now, we can see that mentality is going to carry throughout the season and beyond. And that's awesome.
Yes.
So
I mean, everybody, like I said, you have to apply these versions to your own personal life. Like we're all different. We're different, but we all have the same experiences. We all have the same ideas and thoughts. It's just you have your own version of it. And so once you figure out your version, you just use the same tools. You use the same principles. Principles are used for everybody, but we don't use the principles for what they are. I mean, you don't jump off the roof. You don't go outside and be like, well, I'm gonna test gravity today and see if gravity's working today. Gravity is a law, and you apply that law, right? You don't just freaking, I'm gonna test gravity today and see if it's still working. No, but if you live your life in that fashion, then the principles are the principles. The law says don't run a red light. That's the law. But there are principles in life to be successful, and you have to follow those principles. If you don't, then there's words in the world like failure, and then now you have to look what failure means to you, which is not. There's no such thing as failure. I can't show you failure outside. So what you have to do,
different failure means different things to different people too.
Well, yeah, whatever your environment taught you. So how do you get past failure is you look and see, well, be honest with yourself. What didn't I do today? Oh, you know what? I guess I could have did more studying instead of playing PlayStation. I guess I could have did this instead of going to the club that night. So if you look where you know honestly to yourself, then you could be like, you know what? Let me go make these 2 corrections here and go do it again. But you just don't walk away because you're
not gonna learn from it.
You're saying it's failure. So you have to understand, you know, what that means to you personally and figure out how to push past those conversations. But it's all in life, and we all describe life. If you're describing life, it's never 100% on how you describe it. If you ever watch My Cousin Vinny is the best example.
Amazing movie.
They swore up and down it was those 2 cats in that green car. They swore that's what they saw. But guess what? It was not them. It was a car just like that car, right? So if you imagine the lady that looked through the screen, is this the screen door that you looked through? That screen door was filthy dirty, but she swore that was those guys in the car that she saw. So your description, if you understand that you describe life, it is never the truth. Then you allow people to give another description, and then you talk about, well, why do you see it like that? Not my way is right and your way is wrong. That's what social media became, a debate. My view is the right view and your view is wrong, and that's it. No, find out why they view that. And when you find out why they look at life that way, guess what? Now you can be like, oh, shoot, I never looked at it like that.
It's true, though.
So why would I come here with my team and be like, this is my philosophy and this is my vision and y'all take it or leave it? Nah, bro. No. This is everybody gets a piece of this. And we win as a team. And because I understand I found my vision, I found my purpose, I can't be quiet with that because I can see that with other people. So it's a different flow. And I, like I said, I appreciate you for looking at how I am in a different conversation, because I was depressed. I was ready to commit suicide. My military career was over, bro. It was over. I was ready to die. But because someone shared it with me, somebody shared it with me, and it shifted my life.
Just to add on to that, Farron, and this is why we kind of shared that conversation privately. But it was just like, you know, I dealt with depression, I dealt with anxiety and PTSD because of my father passing, and you know, it's tough. It's really rough, and so that's something that I would never wish upon anybody. So if I can be that person, that beacon of light to help somebody get out of that darkness or help them out of that loop, if I can, by all means, because you know, it's a rough thing. It really is. I don't think, as far as like sports and athletes, it doesn't get too much recognition and light. No. And so when I found out that you were very big on giving back to the community and reaching out to kids, and especially working with veterans, because my father was a veteran as well, it was just all the right things for me that I felt like that's what suits me. That's what defines me as a person. So I just want to thank you for that.
And I lost my father. My father will be passed away this month in a few weeks, a year. And, you know, I met a lot of people who didn't have their parents, who lost their parents, and I could not relate. But I would tell you, when my dad died, I was about to quit again. It was over. I was going to quit. Quitting.
Speaking on that, I'm going to let you finish, but with that, bro, besides the interview, on a personal standpoint, if you need somebody there for you, I know where you're at, you know where I'm at, just hit me up, and I'll come down to you, drive you.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And what I had to do was, and this is for people who lost your parent. What I had to do was I had to go get some classes. You cannot let time heal. Time does not heal everything, bro. You've got to go and do some work and heal your mind. And I did that. So that's what kept me alive, kept me going, because I was in school when my dad passed, and I was going to walk away from it. But imagine, and if I did, everybody would have been like, okay, it makes sense. Well, his dad died, of course. Of course he should walk away. Of course.
That's exactly what society wants us to see, especially as an African American. Like, you quit.
Of course he quit.
You got a good excuse. You're
exactly,
fine.
And everybody would have been fine with it. But luckily, like I said, the mentality that I've been able to develop, that I want to share with the youth and to share with my people around me, it's a different view of life now. And so it ain't over.
Yeah.
I think from that, that's when I give a big shout out, and it sounds funny, but it's a big shout out to Don.
Don, I'm just playing. Yeah, Don. Shout out to Don.
It's crazy, bro. Like, because hearing that story from Farron and then also Drew's right next to me, funny part. But like you said, the African American standpoint, when you look at all of this from the Orcas, we have Farron, African American running it. We have Don, Caucasian running it, or AKA light skin.
Light skin.
Light skin running it and whatnot. And every team he's ran that I've noticed and I played for has been African American. And they've been in a negative situation that Don doesn't know about, but that we know about. And Don helped them to, hey, yo, play on our team.
Yeah.
Multiple players that he doesn't know about, that me and Drew know about.
And I'm not going to lie, Farron, it's because of Don that me and Adam have such a great relationship. Because me and Adam competed against each other in high school, and, we've known of each other for over the years, but because of P4E, it brought us together. I got to know him as a person outside of basketball, and now we're best friends hanging out numerous times a week,
Every time. Like, I played against Drew when I used to wear the goggles.
Yeah, back in them days.
Yeah, ABA, I'm bringing the goggles back.
Oh, yeah.
But
now you have to do it.
And I'm going to say this one are the perfect two guys that brought the Inland Empire
I agree.
back together for certain players. Because, like you said, I never knew Drew. Drew never knew me. If it wasn't for Don, we wouldn't know each other. If it wasn't for Ron, we wouldn't have played on the same team if we've had the tryouts in a professional standpoint. So shout out to them, because Don helped not just us two, but a multiple group of players get out of a negative standpoint to turn into a positive standpoint.
Exactly.
With the Venice Beach League and everything else that he put us in.
I would say life.
Also his league.
I would say life in general, because it wasn't Don's responsibility to have to bring us together. He had to have seen something in each of us individually to be like, you know what, I want to take a chance on this guy. Because normally to society and everybody else, it's just like we're kind of just written off, or like, hey, you're this and that. That's what I think of you just from seeing you. But with Don, it was just like, I see you could be this or this type of person. You just need the proper guidance. And that's something that I'm very grateful for P4E, because how I met Don was just, to me, was a complete accident. But then again, it's faith of God, because it was just a celebrity event for Venice Beach, and it just so happened I was on his team. And after that, it was like, hey, you want to play with me in a couple leagues? And then that turned into our great long relationship. So it's just like, you know, like I said, like basketball just builds bridges and builds great relationships for people that last forever.
And then you got baptized.
Yes, I did. Shout out to Don.
And then you got baptized. Come on, come on.
You missed it.
I had to work.
Adam missed it.
Don't worry.
Everybody
He
know.
was in one of those Asian countries or Denmark.
Then he got baptized.
No. Trust me.
No?
Trust me. He was not in the Asian countries. He was in the United States. He was in the California.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. We still love you, bro. It's all
Can't
good.
redo it.
But you guys, you know, just this little piece, this little 5 minutes right here where everybody's just joking and, you know, messing around and stuff, you could tell we're in that family set, that family mentality. It's going to carry over all season. We're out of time right now. I want to
Thank you.
I got to thank Drewskiii, Flash, Coach John, Farron. Before we get off, if there's anybody in the audience at all that wants to say anything, just raise your hand. I'll throw you, Doctor. You got something you want to say?
That's what I would love. If anybody else has something
Anybody has
to
anything to say before we go
I
off?
would love that.
Okay, I covered
Oh,
it.
they got my GM.
Go ahead, Doctor. Go ahead.
I'm
They
back,
got my
man.
GM.
All right, let's let the doc talk. Let her talk.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here. Like, I think that it is amazingly divine intervention and providence that everybody is here together. You guys are all great. Everybody has a story that's inspirational, and I really do think that everybody is put together for a larger purpose. So I'm very excited to help out with this organization as much as I possibly can and whatever I can do. 3 of the players on the tryout team are already my patients and amazing guys. So, you know, I got Drewskiii, Mizi, and Buddha.
I'm on the way.
He's not on the way. I'm on the way.
Flash is on his way.
But, you know, I'm here for you guys, and I'm really excited. And Farron, you are an amazing guy. I'm checking out the things that you're working on, and anything that I could do to help out with any of those causes as well. I'm down.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. James,
right.
you have something you want to say? Oh, go ahead, Doctor. Go ahead and finish.
That's it. God bless you guys.
God
I'm
bless.
on the way to the doctor.
Just let them know I'm your favorite. No matter what happens.
Hey, we're going to let James talk a little bit. Go ahead, James.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to show love and appreciate everybody's stories. I'm looking forward to rocking with everybody and getting everybody to understand that you know we have to have a certain type of mentality for the family, and that's the only way that we gonna prosper. We have to be mentally strong. I don't care how talented you are. If you're not mentally strong, you're done. Right? So that means that we gonna get tested. Things is gonna transpire, and it's just about us hopping the hurdles and being mentally strong. And if everybody, the whole staff, the players, everybody can go into this mindset that I'm a present, which meaning everybody here should hustle for their last name and not their first. If we go into it with that type of mentality, that's how we leave a legacy. Everybody should be about leaving a legacy. Ricky, Don, Farron, the Dots, the players. It's all about leaving your legacy. It's all about you showing everybody why your last name is what it is. You feel what I'm saying? So everything starts mentally, and mentally strong to attack it in a positive manner. Like nothing else matters, right? And I just wanted to share with Farron and Andrew as well, with you guys was talking about the passing of your parents and everything. My father, he passed when I was 5 years old. And one of the things that helped me cope, but I tell you, one of the things that helped me cope with all of this, and I share this with you guys, is that what helped me move forward and embrace the situation a little easier is that I understood, and I share this with you guys, that it went according to plan. Like, we supposed to lay our parents to rest. They not supposed to lay us to rest, right? So when you really take the time to think about it, it went according to plan. So I'm talking to Farron, I'm talking to Andrew. Please understand that. And the only difference The only difference is this, and this is where the mindset comes in. The only difference is this. Your dads went from standing in front of you talking to your face to now standing behind you talking in your ear. Do that make sense?
That's powerful.
Wrong.
I like that. I never heard that
right?
one before, but I love that one.
Right. So understand that, and please understand it when according to plan, because keep it real. You know that your father definitely wouldn't have wanted to bury you.
Hey,
He'd rather
James.
you bury him.
Hey, James,
right?
let me tell you, James, you are absolutely correct, because my grandson was born.
Shit,
My
gave me the
grandson was
chills.
born 2 weeks after my dad passed away, and let me tell you, I talk to my grandson now, and I sound like my dad talking to. Is not even my voice. It's my dad's voice talking to my grandson, yo. It's like and now I know, now I'm the grandfather. So now I know why my dad was so in love with my daughters and why he treated them the way that he did. And now I get to experience that same pure, not conditional love or unconditional love, pure love. And when my grandson was born 2 weeks later, man, I held him and I said, you know what? It's all yours. The house, the car, the money, like whatever I got is yours. And my dad would say the same thing to my daughters. I'm like, what? Like, why you talk like that? Why you say that? But now, James, I get it, bro. I get it. And now I'm the grandfather. So it's perfect.
It's the
bro.
legacy.
It's perfect.
It's the legacy, right? And it's the legacy. And the bottom line is we all got a right. And this is a right. And I'm dead ass serious. It's a right to leave a legacy. We got the right to leave a legacy. And we got the right to and we got the right to make history. We got the right to leave a legacy, and we got the right to make history. Everybody on this phone right now is a success story. Everybody is a victim, because think about all the trials and tribulations that all of us been through, and we still here. And we still here. All the trials and hurdles we had to hop, and we still here. Yo, we a success story. I grew up in the South Bronx, right? I came from the gutter. I came from it all. I'm keeping it real. I came from it all, right? And I'm here. I've seen a lot. Like today, I just got the news. A close friend of mine, I don't know if y'all heard, Andre Harrell, he's from New York, a close friend of mine, he just passed. So my heart is heavy now. Yeah, so my heart is mad heavy now, but just understanding why we here.
And that's I 100% agree with that, because Farron's story, Drew's story, not Drew, Drew's story about his dad stuff, and sorry to cuss on the interview, but that shit weighs a lot on me. But I focus with Drew more. That's why I'm glad Drew comes to me for advice and stuff like that, because in college that nobody knows, I had a close friend that passed my sophomore year, a big brother that passed that's known in the Empire as Boots, or Cameron Lewis.
R.I.P.
That's all we're 13. He passed. My last year of college, grandma passed. That's why I got her imprinted on my wallet. So I understand what everybody's coming from with that, because my grandma used to send me scriptures every single day. So now I'm getting like scripture for one person, and next week, and the next week after that. So I understand where Farron, and Drew and you are coming from, which I 100% agree with.
Yeah, and it's like you don't even, like what James was saying, everybody goes through something. Myself, I've been through, 2 engagements, 1 divorce, I've been through, none of my grandparents are alive. My mom's a nurse, so I'm really nervous that she just went back to work last night. I've seen my mom's a pediatric nurse, so I've seen numerous friends die before the age of 13, and then there's other things that maybe people have been abused, people have been, raped or whatever it is, you never know, robbed, whatever it is, it weighs on you. And then yeah, you use that to help others, like what Andrew was saying, you know?
Right. Like
Definitely.
it's about impacting people's lives, and we all here for a reason.
I agree.
And that's what that's what this is all about. Like, honestly, and Farron know how I move, and I keep it real and I keep it gully, and it's just like I feel like God blessed me, so it's only right to bless others, and that's why I move how I move, to be able to be impactful. And that should be the mentality, period, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Who we impacted and how we left a legacy and different things like that. Because at the end of the day, one day my life is gonna flash before my eyes. Like one day everybody's life gonna flash before their eyes. And my purpose is to make sure my life is worth watching. You feel what I'm saying? When it do flash, I want to make sure it's worth watching. I don't want to turn my head and be like, yo, I don't want to see that. No, I'm gonna do everything that I possibly can to impact lives to make sure that my life is worth watching. So if God bless y'all with the talent to play basketball, you maximize that blessing. God bless you with the talent to be doctors and us GMs and us in this basketball industry and doing interviews. All we need to do as a family is to maximize the blessing. And
I completely agree with you, James. And it's funny because certain situations, and I won't even say my life in general, but everybody's life, like they could say certain situations happen in order for them to help the next person that, you know, necessarily can't handle the situation or they can't handle getting through it. And it's just the fact that you've been through it, you've done it, blah, blah, you've been there. So you're able to be that reaching hand for somebody that, you know, could possibly think like the world's ending right now, or like, this is it for me, like blah, blah, in the case may be. They need to see living proof of somebody that's actually been through it, has done it, has survived it, and now they're stronger from it. And I think, you know, that's the biggest message in this group from here.
Yeah, I've been just listening to everybody talk and taking it all in. It's been melting my heart. This is what it's all about, and this is what family's all about, and it's more than basketball. Basketball is just a vessel to change the world. It's just a luxury that God's given us to do, that we enjoy, but there's more behind it. I met Adam and Drew the same day at the Budweiser celebrity event 2 years ago this summer, and in that short amount of time that I met Farron November of that year. So in less than 2 years, all this came together.
Crazy.
And that's
from God
if God is and love, you know. So I know a lot of people said they've lost people, they lost fathers, especially, you know, my dad. I have a brother of my blood family, but I have a huge family that's been around me, and these guys are my family. And
I'm your favorite. Hey, I know you got a jersey of Adam, but I'm your favorite.
When people die and people pass away, humans leave us for one way or another and disappoint us. But there's a Father that never disappoints, never leaves us, never forsakes us. And that's all I want to share on that part. I won't get too spiritual because I could just go on for days. Father that never leaves us, even if we reach out to him or didn't. And that's what my legacy is going to be, is to share as much people about Jesus Christ than anything. And God's giving me this vessel of basketball. And I thought it was going to be this league and this thing, but now it's becoming a professional team. And it's just crazy how God works when you're obedient.
Yeah.
Hey, Don, thank God for your patience, man. Because I know I'm a handful.
I have a lot of patience with you, but
I'm sorry for coming late to games and we end up winning.
Oh my God! No, let's not entertain this guy. Come on, Don. Let's not even entertain this.
Don't be the ego. Don't be the ego.
Hey, anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, we gotta.
Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah. Has anybody else got anything else? We're gonna have to end in a couple minutes.
I just want to say thank you for just inviting me
me.
to this collective group, and honestly, and just being able for me to just share and tell my story and my side. And I just feel thankful and honestly honored just to be a part of this group, to where, like I said, everybody cares for everyone, and we're in the same mission, the same goal, and want to accomplish the same things, and most importantly, impact the community and change the world of basketball how they see it.
Yeah, and Andrew, I'm looking at Adam with the mask. He's distracting me.
He's weird. I know he's a weirdo.
No, honestly, when I first met you, I was hoping to interview you again. And when I saw you on the roster, I'm like, this dude's going to have something good to say. I don't know what it's going to be, but he's going to have something good. And you're tearing my heart apart over here, dude. With the stuff you're coming out with, because I relate to it so much. I've been a coach. I've been a player, not to your stature, but I've worked at schools. I've seen that student that was going to commit suicide at 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that stuff. And like you said, you never know who you're going to affect and how you're going to affect them. So with that said, I want to thank every single one of you, no matter if you're a doctor, a coach, an owner, my partner, a GM, whatever you are, be 100%. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you guys join us next week. I don't know exactly who's going to be lined up, but I'm working on a few people right now. And we're a family. We're always going to be a family. And let's take this ride together, you guys.
I completely agree.
My last thing before we get off of this.
Oh, God.
What's Spider-Man say? What Spider-Man say?
Spider-Man
I'm with Spider-Man right now.
There it is.
My last thing I gotta say to everybody.
No wonder. You mean I could have seen you guys each just on one little square? Killing me.
My one thing is to everybody, thank you for watching, and thank you for actually hearing the story, not on my standpoint, because the story goes on, but more so Drew and the team.
Mm-hmm.
Because my story can go on long for days.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to a best friend of mine that Drew and Farron brought me to,
yeah,
it's more so about him,
mm-hmm.
for me. So I would, thank you everybody that watched, that asked the questions. And I love the fact it was more so about him than me, because when it comes to us two, I'm goofy.
He's the superstar. He's
I don't believe
Mr. Do It All.
Yeah, so I'm all of that, but I love when I can watch
mm-hmm.
and see somebody go from nothing to grow up to something big.
Wow.
And keep on rising.
That's it.
You're going to make him cry right here.
No, you don't got to get teary-eyed and cry.
It's all good. Go for it, Drew. All good. Mr. Judge.
All right, Spider-Man.
But from Drew, from Don and Farron, you guys have an amazing group for the tryouts, and I hope everybody's ready.
Yeah,
man,
I'm ready to compete. At the end of the day, competition is everything.
Right.
They better be.
Mission, and I know we're all ready for it.
Yes, sir.
That's all I gotta say.
Not just on the court, also off.
That's right. That's right, Ricky.
That's right.
All right, yo, man. Thanks, Rick, man. Thanks, Ricky, man, for putting this together, man. Appreciate you.
Well,
and we got some more media stuff to come through, man. So
I got a few lined up already. So, but you know what? Thank you guys for making it so easy, so comfortable. You can ask G. I was so freaking nervous about this thing. I've done interviews before. You can ask Andrew. I've done interviews. I'm kind of silly with my interviews, but I've never done a Zoom interview before. I was so nervous, and you guys made it so comfortable. So thank you guys.
No, yeah, exactly. Hey, thank you for everybody for being here. Thank you for having me. I hope we could do this again, at least like once a week.
Next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
What's up, Doc? Can we rock? What's up, Doc? Can we rock?
Can we rock? But yeah, thank you for me and Drew's standpoint on the interview. Yeah, I got my family mask on. But everybody else, I love you guys. Do what y'all do, and have a wonderful day. I have nothing else to say from that.
And be safe out there, all right?
We will. It's hard.
Yo.
All right.
Love.
You guys are awesome. See you next week.
All right, I'm out of here.
Now, be safe. If you guys want to chill and chat after, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and cut the recording right now. So Be safe and peace out, guys. See ya.